All right, hey everybody. I figure I'm going to do just a little bit of a update to my ISBoxer keys, or more so just like a dedicated video. Some of my earlier videos I talk about this, but it's a short portion of a much longer video, so this will be a little more dedicated to just ISBoxer hotkeys and how I have them set up. This isn't how you should have them set up. And if you've got some ideas, absolutely, just use this to start some conversation, to get some better tips out there. But just what I've done, as well as a couple of minor changes for Outer Brood, some stuff like that, just some different classes that I've been trying that I've tried to make some changes to. But yeah, so I'll kind of just get right into it here. So the way I have my hotkey set up, I just have the default on install, which is the 1 through the plus sign is always broadcasting. So that top number bar there. You can go in there and change it. I know some people like the RPG FPS style where they've got stuff tied to QERF and GT or whatever, like your what would have normally like your reload and throw grenade type buttons kind of things. But I prefer just a number pad there. That's what I've used since launch of EverQuest. So that's what I'm just used to, is hitting those 1, 2, 3s, etc. You can also use number pads, but it should be easily translatable just to whatever it happens to be. But the way I've got to set it up here, and again, like I had mentioned in the earlier video, my main tune here, I've just got blank socials all over the place here. Well, mostly blank, just some stuff in buffs. This is just my legend. This just helps me kind of remember if I'm having a brain fart or if I'm setting up a new tunes. I remember like, okay, cool. I make sure I put the burns to 9 and whatever. So you can do something like this. You don't have to. In all my other tunes, it's all pretty blank except for a couple of things where they actually do things in there. But the way I got it set up there is the melee attack is always number 1. So just whenever I need to start a fight, I got my mob, I hit the number 1 and we're good to go. My main tune here, it's just simple attack. If I go into the other tunes, there's some more stuff in there. So it is going to assist the main. So I always try to make sure that I'm on main assist. Pet classes are going to have some attack on theirs. And then some other things I've got in there. So I'll go to my cleric. My cleric is just simply to target my main tank. So obviously I don't want him assisting and trying to heal whatever mob we are on. It is just going to target him. You can have a couple of different options, like at my, I don't have it up right now, but a shaman, I'll have it so I can flip in there. One will be target if he's healing, and then I've got another one just on it, like a different spinner bar that will be an assist if he's going to be in kind of DPS mode. But so that's essentially like whatever is going to start your fight. That's that number there. And the reason why that I have this as a slash attack on, especially for casters here, if we're going from mob to mob and he is in the midst of casting something on a mob that just died, like he's going to go through and finish that casting. But if I try to attack, if I try to click just attack on, if it were just slash attack and not just a slash and not attack on, it wouldn't pick it up because he's in the middle of casting, and it's not going to hit a social while somebody is casting. So what that would do is it would mean like 2 characters might on that first attack start attacking, and 2 characters that were casting something don't get it. So then if I try to click attack again to get those 2 other characters that were casting to then finally attack, the other 2 that did get the attack would turn their attack off. So this just allows me to spam one with a new target each time, and it ensures that everybody is just always making sure that they're going attack on, and it's not just constantly toggling and flipping everybody attack on and off. And I do have in here, just since I'm looking at it, my Zerker, like I've got punch to the gut in there, because that's the ability that does a really nice big DD as long as he's out of combat. So as long as it's on cooldown, it'll trigger that before attacking, to get some little bit of extra DPS in there. So it's a little perk there, a little tip there for that if you happen to have a Zerker, or there's other rogues have similar types of things there. So good spot to just add it in there before your actual attack. 2 is just the main spam key, like nothing too crazy there. That is where all of my characters' skills are set up in a dedicated hot bar that is all set to number 2. So what is this? Like Hot Bar 7 here is all the abilities that they utilize there are on that number 2. I've got, look at my Zook here, I've actually got 2 because they just got so many, and they added a couple of decent ones to add in there with TOB. So I've got that in there as well. So set that up. Not going to go over all the specifics to those there. Other than I will mention, so like make sure you got Oriates. I don't know how the heck we're pronouncing that. The Bane from the new expansion. Set to your spam bar. It's cool. It's set up. It will only trigger if you've got the debuff on you. And then once this is on, it won't like re-trigger it. So it's not going to like, I don't even think it does. It drains anything mana, but it's not going to just constantly try to do this over and over again and potentially blocking something else. So it's always good just to add into your spam bar there. As well, Cleric, the number 2 is all the heals, all those direct target like remedy ones there. I'll set the number 2 so that when I hit 1, he ensures that he's always got the main tank targeted, and then goes right into 2 to cast the quick direct heals there. So number 3, I've got set. I've got here just written in start. This is the button that I just hit once, or maybe I spam it a couple of times at the start of a fight. So realistically, there isn't a whole lot going on here for anybody except for my Beast Lord. But the Beast Lord here, you can kind of see what's going on here with this for other potential characters. So I've got buffs in here. So I've got the Bane in here only because number 2 is just packed to the brim. But I've got the number 2 in here. So I've got the Bane in here, but I've got stuff like his Reprisal, which is his slow. And then I've got Taste of Blood, which puts on a buff that lasts for a minute. So this is something that there's like no cooldown to it whatsoever. Like I want this up on my tune throughout a fight, but I don't want it taking up a spot number 2 because it's just going to just eat through like endurance. And I only need to click it once at the start of the fight. So your stuff here that just, all right, cool, start of the fight. I'm going to click that. Bam, we're good to go. Where's my bar at? So I don't have a bar dedicated to it, but I do have just in the regular hot bar here, number 3, the bellow. So just get that on at the start of the fight so it runs its full course. Does its thing there. There's also this Vindication, which adds like a minute and a half of buff, which is a new one that's pretty cool from TOB. So stuff like that. Anything that you only want to cast once. So debuffs, if you've got a shaman or an enchanter, slows and tash and melees and stuff like that in there. Similar for the magician kind of a thing. Stuff that just, again, that once at the start of the fight, you click that and bing, bang, boom. You don't have to worry about it again throughout the rest of the fight. Number 4, I've got generally open. I do have in there, I've been kind of playing around with a magician a little bit. My ranger has become virtually useless in this new expansion. I shouldn't say useless, but from a boxing standpoint, like he's lost a lot of DPS, whereas LS, he can headshot everything. So I've been kind of getting my magician up to speed to probably sort of replace him. But he's got some stuff like the orbs and things like that. So it's going to kind of be like my between each fight sort of hotkey there, but still a work in progress. So number 5, a vital one, group heals, which the majority of this is going to be my cleric down here at number 5. A couple of the good group heal spells, and then some AA abilities that do group heals on him. Obviously, I want to be able to heal my group. I don't have any sort of hotkeys set up that will target a specific one. So, like you can get create custom hotkeys so that it targets the second person in the group and casts the remedy. Then another hotkey that'll target the third person, kind of a thing there. I don't have it really set up that intricate. It's too many hotkeys. You could definitely do that. So I just have one set up for a group heal. So the vast majority of the time, if somebody else is taking damage in the group, it's probably because it's an AE, so everybody is taking damage. So I just have a bar set up dedicated for group heals. But you can also get a little more intricate with that, some tips for that. Group heals are longer casting, generally by nature. So if you're in a tough fight and you need to get some group heals going, but your main tank is still getting its butt beat by some big-ass, huge 5-story dragon, set up some bars, depending on your classes, So Beast Lords, Rangers, Druids, Shamans, they all tend to have like a heal target type of thing. I mean, not Shamans. Shamans will do something a little bit different, but Druids, Beast Lords, and Rangers. So like this spell here will heal your enemy's target. And I don't have a bar set up for this, but just the number 5 key here, and then Ranger, similarly, exact same style. Spell, heal target, your enemy's targets. So when I hit the 5 to get some group heals going, what that'll do is that'll also trigger my Beast Lord and Ranger to hit the main tank with a couple of direct heals. So essentially just kind of spot heal him a little bit, so he's still getting a little bit of dedicated love while the cleric is healing the group. 6 is just set up for sit. That's just always what I've got there. 7 is going to trigger my bard to over here. So it is going to cast his speed, cast his invis, and stop his singing. The stop song there is definitely very, very key, because if he's in the middle of singing and you invis, you speed up and then you invis and you start to move around, and then his spells or his songs are still going, he's going to break invis and he's going to start picking up aggro. So always make sure you got a stop song in there. It can go at the front or the end. It'll always make sure that it stops that. Easy enough there. Follow is just real simple. All the tunes have a excuse me, a hotkey set up to follow my main take. So burn one, also very simple. I've got it's right on all these tunes here. That is all of the burns on them. And again, I mentioned this in like one of the first videos. I don't have but the burn rotation for ISBox and the way I do that, it's not very ideal. It's not too well set up. It just clicks basically everything all at once. So I've got separate hotkeys that get them in a better rotation for like sustained burns. But for names and group missions and things like that, like you don't necessarily need 15 minutes of burns on a good rotation. You just need that one big burst very, very quickly. So yeah, again, it's just all set up to the same thing there. You could, if you wanted to, like in theory, go in here. It's easy to change. I've just never gotten to it. So I think it's Hot Bar 9. Yep, all up to 9. So you could dedicate like 2 buttons to it. You could dedicate like say 8 and 9 kind of a thing there. So it would use up another key, so it'd have to be something that's open. But you could have slots like 1, 2, 3, and 4 set up to 8. Slots 5, 6, 7, 8 set up to 9 kind of a thing. Or make it 1 and 2 set up to a button, 2 and 3 set up to the next button, so that you can go, all right, I'm going to hit 8, and then a minute later I'll hit 9 to get into the next rotation. So it's not hard to do. I just keep it simple for that. 0 is buffs. Very simple again there. This isn't like your war or your commitment, your symbol type things, your skins. These are the short duration buffs that you're going to want to refresh between every couple of fights, every 20 minutes or so. You could set up a hotkey that'll get everybody like buffed up with like the long-term skins and things like that, but you're focused. But you only need that every couple of hours, and you're typically going to have to go through and change your spell or reload a new spell set for each one. So that's just a manual process still. So just go in here. So like this is one I showed a moment ago, but so for my Shadow Knight, he's got a couple of the good ones here, the stances and skin and things like that, so it'll refresh that. My cleric will go through, he'll make sure that he always has the main target on there, and he'll cast stuff, he'll refresh like his DI and the wards and things like that, so the kind of good absorptions and things like that get burned through and need to be refreshed every so often. Beast Lord will pop off. He'll go through his Paragon and refresh his excuse me, his Shared Merciless Ferocity. Drawing a blank there. So anything that you want cast between every couple of fights on a much more frequent basis is what you would pop off there. Melody, real simple. Just that's your bard melody. So I've got tied in here as well to refresh his epic on here. So the epic is kind of unique and a little bit different. you want to try to keep this up as often as possible on a bar. It's really, really nice, but it stops the singing. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt. That's otherwise a manual process. Come in here, click it, re-trigger up your melody and things like that. So what I could do with that is just every couple of minutes when I need to, just hit the melody key. It'll stop his singing. It'll refresh the epic and then go right back into his melody. As well, it'll also trigger the Orator's Bane in here, which is, I don't know, it's kind of useless and redundant, but I just added it in there just because it's an instant click. And so make sure that it's always up in there. So yeah, that's how we got that going. And then the last one here, I still have the Bravery there, that NOS clicky. And this is still kind of just the open up for whatever is going on. I haven't done that in a while. Just been, every free second is just doing missions to get currency for the new Augs out of Outer Brood. But still keep that in there. But, that's just kind of, again, something that's open for interpretation. And then the one thing that I did add in, if you saw on a couple of tunes here, I created a new hotkey set for my number pad. And so I was kind of playing around with my shaman, trying to get some better ideas for getting dots into my rotations, especially for the Beast Lord, just to get some more DPS. Because with an ISBoxer, with those kind of tunes that have dots that do a good chunk of their overall DPS, it doesn't work with spam keys because it'll just recast that same first dot in the row, and it's in the line just over and over and over again, since they're instant cast, no recast on them. So what I did was I set up, let me open up the options here. It's right there. So keys, I set up, I believe 11. Yeah. So the 11 one on all the tunes here is set up for the number pad. So 1 through 8 is set up just numpad 1, 2, 3, etc., etc., etc. And then 9, 10, 11, 12 is just tied to number pad 9. And I'll show you in a moment why we've got that. So what I mainly use this for is I've added dots there. So my Beast Lord, couple of his good hitting dots there. My the Shadow Knight here, I've kind of added a few in just because we've got so many spell slots now and an additional one. I've just kind of add that in just to add a little bit more DPS with some higher HP mobs here. Or if I've got no tanking assignments on a raid, I'll just make sure to keep that up just to add another 0.001% to the overall DPS with the kind of stinky dots. Well, they get pretty decent with Visage of Decay. But anyway, so what this allows me to do is I'm spamming my 2 key, but if I want to then start getting a rotation of dots in, I can then just, numpad 1, spam 2 a couple of times, numpad 2, 3, 4, etc., etc., etc. It's set up so you can kind of do that all the way up through the 8 key there. So I don't have, there's really nothing that really has more than 4 dots that need to be rotated on. Shaman's definitely got some more, but they've got a couple that tie them all to once. You really don't need it. So the number 5, 6, 7 there, it's open. So now I've got an ability, if there's another key that I want set up that I want to tie to there, bam, I got that. All good to go. But now what I've got there with the 9, so number pad, the numpad 9 is tied to the hot buttons here, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So on my Zerker, it's all of his AE stuff, like the Rampage, Furious Rampage, Vortex, Arc Slice, all that kind of stuff there. So it basically gives me a little bit of an AE burn type thing. So I can hit my normal burn and then tap 9 a couple of times just to get those going to take down a whole bunch of ads all at the same time. Because we do got a couple of missions where you've got a bunch of ads, so this just gives me an option. So something that I've kind of wanted to do for a while is set up some sort of AE burn. So that's what I did there. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's really the main big thing that I kind of changed. Just kind of added it in. Again, this is just what's kind of worked for me, and just kind of as I've gone through. I'm not terribly tech savvy, so not too sure how to customize keys beyond much more than that. But hopefully this kind of gives you some ideas and helps you get some better stuff in. And if you've got some good ideas, please definitely feel free to share. Drop a comment below. Hit me up. Send me a tell-in game on Journal to Limey, or message me on YouTube or whatever, and see if we can get some better stuff going. But cool, we'll go ahead, we'll end it there. Again, any questions, let me know.